How's it going, YouTube? This is Gray1951, and I'm here to make another video for the series A Movie for Each Year of My Life. And I'm doing something a little different today. I'm trying this. I brought my laptop up to my TV room, which I'm still working on and trying to get in shape so I can give you a complete room tour, but this is part of it right here. Please ignore the mess on the floor. Still have a lot of things to hang up on the walls and get into place, and my side table here is an absolute mess, so I'm not going to let you see that. All right. So the movie I've chosen today is something that's rather obscure. I would be surprised if a lot of people knew about this film. It's A Cold Wind in August. We're up to the year 1961. A Cold Wind in August. Independently made, low-budget film. It stars a beautiful actress named Lola Albright, who, getting dizzy here, who started in the Hollywood studio system back in the 1940s, made a whole string of films of every variety during the 1950s, and then is probably best known for being on the TV series Peter Gunn from 1958 to 1961, and she never really became a big name star, but she's a very good actress, and this film proves what a good actress she is. So it's about a woman named Iris who happens to be a stripper, and she lives in New York City, and by the looks of the way she's living, she has plenty of money and is very good at what she does. And at the beginning of the film, she's being approached by her estranged husband, who happens to be the owner of a strip club in, I think it's New Jersey, he said it was. And he's trying to get her to fill in for somebody who has dropped out at the last minute. She's trying to say, no, I don't want to work in New York. I only work out of town because I like to live here and keep my privacy. In other words, she doesn't want people knowing what she does for a living. And it's not because she's ashamed of what she does or who she is. She's very proud of it. But she just likes to have her privacy when she's at home. But she agrees to do this show to do this guy a favor, even though she obviously doesn't love the guy at all. But they seem to be friends. So while all this is going on, it happens to be a very hot, humid summer in New York City, and her air conditioning is not working. So she calls the superintendent of the building, played by Joe DeSantis, to send somebody up to work on her air conditioner. Well, he sends up his 17-year-old son, Vito, played by an actor named Scott Marlowe, who at that time was kind of cornering the market in low-budget films, playing troubled teenagers, juvenile delinquents, drug addicts, all that kind of thing. This guy made a lot of films and a lot of TV in his career. Another very good actor, very good-looking guy too. So this kid comes up to work on her air conditioner, right? And she immediately is attracted to the kid and flirts with him. And she just can't seem to stop herself. And then, so when he comes up later to bring back a missing part, right, she seduces him in a scene which, in a way, it reverses the masculine-feminine role. She's totally in control of what's happening, and he is a very innocent kid. Certainly he's a young man. He's got a lot of, sexual energy and all this, and he allows it to happen. But she is definitely in charge of what's going on. Well, what this woman thought was going to be kind of a one-time thing and a very brief fling totally turns into something that is very serious. She falls madly in love with this kid, and he falls in love with her. This is a woman who's probably in her mid-30s, should know better, knows what she's doing, but she falls in love with this kid, and they start having a relationship. And it goes through these changes where originally she was the person who was in control and was the one who was sexually mature, and he starts to get more confidence as a young man, and he starts to become basically your very standard heterosexual guy who wants to be in control of everything. He gets jealous, he starts questioning her friendships, and she starts acting like a teenage girl. And at one point he asks her if they can go steady. And first she laughs at it, but she says yes. I mean, she's a woman in her 30s who's going steady with a teenager. And so the whole thing is very strange. So what happens at the end is I'm going to give spoilers away here because I don't know how many people will actually seek out this film to watch it. But he finally finds out what she does for a living. Somebody, another kid in the neighborhood who has seen her in this show that she's doing for about a week, comes back and says, hey, that hot blonde in your building is a stripper. You got to go see her. At first he doesn't believe it, but he goes, he sees her, and when he finds out what she does, he's angry, he feels betrayed, and he rejects her. So this film is interesting in the fact that it's definitely made as an exploitation film, and it's supposed to be sexually provocative. It For 1961, it has a portrayal of female sexuality that is decades ahead of its time, and the film takes you along a storyline that you think is going to go somewhere else, but at the end, in the established mores of that time, 1961, and the Hollywood of 1961, even in a film like this, it is necessary at the end of a film for a woman who is this sexually free and this sexually powerful and confident to be punished. So at the end of the film, she's completely fallen in love with this kid. She's apologized. She doesn't apologize for who she is and what she's done. She's still very proud of what she does. And she said, it's an act. It's not who I am. It has nothing to do with you and me. And she said, millions of women, married women every night, are lying to their husbands. I have no reason to be ashamed of what I'm doing. But of course, he doesn't see it that way, being this macho character. So at the end of the film, she is alone and devastated, and he has gone off to take his place in the world of heterosexual men. So the film kind of, well, in a way, it plays it safe by the end. I suppose they wouldn't have gotten any kind of a release at all if it had ended a different way. So she had to be punished, and that's what the cinema in 1961 was telling us, that women like this would have to end up in that way. So anyway, it's a very good film, and before you think that it's as creepy in real life as it was in the story, Scott Marlowe was only about 5 years younger than Lola Albright at the time, and he didn't really look like a 17-year-old kid, but he's a very good actor, and he did the portrayal very well of a young boy who's just trying to come into his manhood, has a lot of questions and a lot of doubts about himself, and trying to relate to women and finding his place in the world. So it's actually a very good movie. It's very well acted by both of these people, directed by a guy named Alexander Singer. Seemed like a name I should know a lot about. I looked him up on IMDb, and he didn't actually direct that many films. He mostly did television. But okay, if anybody has any interest in seeing something from the 60s that is completely different than probably what you've seen from that era, check this out, A Cold Wind in August. Okay? Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think of my messy room here. I'm still working on